Why do romance covers keep lying to us? Seriously, why does every YA romance look like a Calvin Klein ad and every adult romance book look like a coloring book from the Target aisle? Today we're talking about the two sides of the debate. Both over-sexualized romance book covers, aka the cringe Fabio era problem, versus the infantilized covers, which I like to call the icebreaker effect for obvious reasons. Today you're going to get my spicy but thoughtful take, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not going to be blaming authors or illustrators, so if that's what you came for me to bash some people, today is not the day. But I am going to be questioning publishers' deliberate marketing tactics to fool all of us. If you're new here, I'm Rachel D. Oak, and you're listening to the Rationally Insane podcast. We talk all about the issues affecting book marketing and readers all over the world. In today's hot seat, it's all about book covers that make us hide our books in public, the ones that trick us into thinking a cutesy romance is YA safe, when it's actually very much not, and why publishers keep doing this. I can only promise you some hot takes and recs for covers that actually get it right. This is obviously all my opinion. Sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, let's get into it. First things first, we need to cover the over-sexualized cover crisis. I'm talking inaccuracy. Here's the thing, I have nothing against you putting a person on the book cover. Seriously, I get it. A hot, sexy man in the cover of a romance book? Yeah, it might catch my eye a little. What can I say? I'm only human. Plus, it's a romance book. And if it's a romance book with a little bit of spice, then sure, throw in a little torso. But when the looks absolutely nothing like the character, I mean nothing, then that pisses me off quite a bit. And I've noticed this particularly in the Legacy of God series by Brynne. To preface this, I did read these books in the Kindle version, and it seems like every book in a Kindle version is always like a shirtless guy. I don't know what makes people think that, oh yeah, in the Kindle version, people want to see some hot stuff, because that's not the case for me. It makes me feel quite awkward when I pick up the book, when I'm just there for the actual contents of it. The problem with the Legacy of God series in particular is, at least for the first 3 books, the models that they picked for these book covers look absolutely nothing like the characters. The characters are described in one way with certain physical attributes, and then they picked the most bland-ass models, took their shirts off, and were like, bish bosh, you're happy now. No. The fact is, if you're putting a character on the cover, inevitably, the way that you are going to read that character, read that description, is going to be skewed by the model that's on the cover, because it, creates the association in your brain, right? This is how this character is supposed to look. So when you give me a completely different character description within the contents of the book, I'm gonna be slightly pissed off. My brain is going to be like, this is not how I imagine this character at all. Pick a model, okay, fine, I get it, but at least pick one that actually looks like the character. Also, and this happens in other books and not specifically the Legacy of God series, putting models that are shirtless or a lot of visible skin, when in the context of the book, those specific characters are extremely shy about their bodies. This specifically happens with female characters in romance books, that I found that when they put a female character and a male main character in a sexy embrace in the cover, but then you actually read the contents of the book and the female character is actually really shy and would never pose in such a suggestive way or with such little clothing. Please, let's leave the inaccuracy at the door. Not to mention, there is another level of inappropriateness here when it comes to over-sexualized book covers. Listen, from time to time, I will pick up a high school romance. The more I grow older, the more I realize that it feels slightly off to read a high school romance. These characters are minors doing things that they should not be doing, so it always puts me a little bit on the back foot. But from time to time, a book gets good enough ratings that does make me want to reach for it. So you can imagine my face when you have this 30-year-old man with a full sleeve of tattoos holding a hockey stick on a teen romance book. I'm sorry, sir, what are you doing here? Do I need to call CPS? Are you some kind of undercover cop? Because you should not be here. This is not the place for you. There is no way in goddamn hell that you are a teenager. Am I talking about Bad Intentions by Mila Kane? Yes, I am. Okay? If you've seen the book cover of that book, oh my god, there is no way that man is 17 years old. I am so sorry. I've read the book. He, in the book, has so many tattoos. Who is tattooing a 17-year-old a full sleeve? I'll give it to them. They made the man in the book cover look like the description in the book, but it ain't right. This man is not in high school. It would have gone down so much easier if these characters were in college. I understand why they had to be in high school, but oh god, it just feels wrong. And again, I want to make it clear, this is not me bashing on authors or bashing on specific books. This is a problem that I've seen happen over and over again. And the reason it upsets me so much and it gets me so fired up is this sort of a respect factor. It fails to respect a reader who enjoys a certain type of genre. There's an embarrassment to it, right? There's like a forcing you to hide your books. If somebody asks what book you're reading, you can't just tell people, oh, I'm reading this book, because they go on and the first thing that shows up on the cover is some shirtless ass man, right? And I think it really devalues the work. Like, a book can be so good, but you feel really awkward telling people about it because of the cover. And that reader shame factor just feeds into this massive stigma of reading romance publicly. It makes you want to hide the cover, and then it makes reading romance something silly and goofy and awkward and cringe, when we should be celebrating the fact that we're reading at all. Literacy levels are down all over the world. I'm just glad anybody is reading anything. You want to read self-help, read self-help. You want to read fiction, non-fiction, fairy smut, whatever. As long as you're reading, there's so many benefits to reading in terms of our own brain development, in terms of our critical thinking, that if you want to read romance books, read romance books. It should not be a stigma. So why do covers keep feeding into this? And then it forces romance readers to often prefer a Kindle or any sort of non-physical copy of their books. The problem with this is, obviously, you start losing the actual physical copies of books. If the vast majority of people start just reading on Kindle, just reading the virtual version, you no longer own a book. You're just renting it, right? Your computer shuts down, your books are gone. Whereas when you actually buy a physical copy of the book, the pages are yours. There is ownership to it. This is a part of a much larger societal conversation over the fact that we no longer own anything. Like, literally nothing. We don't own DVDs. We don't own CDs. We don't own VHSs. Our pictures are in our phones, which are in a cloud. Like, we don't even own memory albums of our own lives anymore. If all of your pictures and videos and memories of holidays are stored in Instagram shuts down tomorrow, everything is gone. And I know I've gone on a little bit of a tangent here, but you can see how all of this is interconnected and why it matters so much to me that books, as in the physical copy of books, exist. I can give you like specific examples. I think it's quite obvious what I don't like this Fabio style tribal tattoo book covers that just feel old and cringe and just not at all what the books are about, versus like well done ones. I think I've discussed this before on my Substack, probably I did. For example, Butcher and Blackbird, the book cover, so fun. It has so much elements of what the book actually is. Every single little icon in that book cover is actually a part of the story. It feels like you're getting little hints of what's going to happen. It's a bit like when you're reading a book and suddenly the title makes sense. But in this case, it's, oh, suddenly that little chainsaw in the book cover makes sense. It's so fun. It's so playful. It hints specifically at what the book is about. And I think it is so well done. And I'm not saying just, oh, don't put models on the covers, because models need to make a living. But at least if you're going to put an actual human being on the cover, make it make sense. For example, I really like the book Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I only read it once, but I did really enjoy it. Some of the versions of the cover do include a girl. I think one of them is a girl jumping into a pool in a bikini. And you'd think that's over-sexualizing all over again. It's not, because it makes sense and it alludes to a very specific scene in the book. That's what I'm trying to get at. If you're going to put something that is that out there, make it make sense. It's not even that this is cringe, it's that it feels really lazy marketing. Oh, it's a romance book, let's just shove a hot guy in there and call it done. and it kind of disrespects the whole story. It sets this tone that might not actually be a reflection of the story at all. It really does a disrespect to the story. And let's talk about the other side of book covers, the infantilized cover trend. I think Icebreaker really was the tipping point here, where you had this cutesy illustrated cover, which felt very romance vibes, very young adult safe. If your teen picked up Icebreaker, you wouldn't bat twice to get them the book, you know? Because it felt so cutesy and it's pastel. And then the contents of the book were so, like, it was spicy, right? You had spicy scenes, you had 18 plus scenes, and tons of books that came after Icebreaker saw the success of that cover and started doing that a lot. But it matters so much that we don't do it, because it is so misleading to readers, the fact that it looks safe when it is very much not. It's so hard for me to make this argument when I know for a fact that, like, I was 12 reading some smutty fan fiction that I should not be reading. My parents did not know what I was looking at. So I understand that it's not as simple as saying kids shouldn't be reading this. What I'm saying is that when you purposefully infantilize a cover, it feels wrong. Morally, it feels wrong to me. And I do think it's so deceptive, especially if you're a parent or a young reader, somebody who's genuinely looking for something that is young adult safe. Not everybody wants to read a romance book with smut, okay? That is point blank. It's not about age. Sometimes I don't want to read about people getting it on. Shut the door. A romance book doesn't have to hinge solely on these people getting nasty. So when you put a book cover in front of me that looks like it's going to deliver what I want it to deliver, that has no trigger warnings on the back, that looks very much like safe and quote unquote clean, and then I get into it and I start getting hit left, right, and center, I'm going to be upset, and it's probably going to make me not pick up that author again, when it's not even the author's fault. I do think publishers really are to blame here, because they're chasing what is trending on TikTok versus any type of timeless design. It's not about the authors that wrote these books, and it's not about the illustrators that were just paid to do a design. It's the publisher strategy of, I can sneak smut into the mainstream shelves without the stigma if I put a cute little book cover on it. It's not right, and it is so intentional. Because if you had Icebreaker with some shirtless guy on the cover, you would not have that book on the windows. That would be hidden in the back towards a more 18 plus section with other spicy books. If you put a cutesy little book cover on it, well, suddenly you can shove it in the front and nobody is going to bat an eye. It is a very intentional marketing strategy that I deeply disagree with, because I think publishers know what they're doing. And in their minds, it's all about money. The closer a book cover is to the front of a store, the more likely people are to pick it up and browse it. I understand that you need to make money. I understand that an author should be paid for the work that they're doing, but I don't think that should come at the cost of reader trust. And if we take a step back and we look at the bigger picture of both of these extremes, it comes down to publishers trying to fit romance into acceptable market categories. So if you've got a shirtless model, it means that a romance book is going to be sex and nothing more. And if you have a cutesy drawing, it means that the romance book is going to be harmless, and it just flattens the genre. It means that romance books can only be two things. It's either about sex or it's about fluff, and it's marshmallow books. It just disrespects layered stories and layered romance books that are so much more than just bodies, or fluff. I think we're just missing so much nuance here. And it's hard because I'm not trying to say ban shirtless mans or ban drawings on book covers. I just think there's a lot of intention and honesty that is missing. And that makes me really upset, because you can do better. You can look at Butcher and Blackbird and take inspiration from it. You can look at other genres beyond romance and look at how amazing their covers are. Like Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Oh my god, I looked at that cover. I absolutely loved it. So simplistic. Gives you a little hint of what you're looking at. Even the choice of font made sense and gave you a hint of what you were going to get. You can have romance books and romance books that sell and romance books that are on the front of the shelves without them being shirtless mans or cutesy drawings. And I feel like I'm starting to repeat myself, so I'm just gonna do a little mini rant of other book cover crimes that I can't stand them. Okay? Number 1, AI generated book covers. I think they are ugly. I think they are soulless. I understand if you're a self-published author, an indie author, and you can't afford to pay an illustrator or an artist, but you can do better than AI generated covers. Like a Canva license, 20 quid, maybe less. And you get the rights to publish your covers commercially and actually make money off of them. You're set and you can make something that is yours and editable, a reflection of the book and is a reflection of the effort that went into the book. When you have an AI generated cover, that spells to me that you didn't even bother. That spells to me that the content of the book, it's not even worth reading. Like, the author didn't even bother to spend any time on it. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying that's what AI generated covers feel to me. Another cover crime, bad fonts. Oh, I can't stand bad fonts. I can't stand a font that is completely unreadable, blends into the background. Oh my god, we can do so much better than this. It's not that hard to search online for a little bit of a thicker font or put some outline in it. I think I'm just a hater. Oh, speaking of being a hater, stock photos. Oh, no, nope, I can't even sit down and discuss how much I hate stock photos. They're like the prelude to AI generated covers. Either way, awful. Also, covers that look like a Wattpad thumbnail from 2013. I made my own book covers when I was writing on Wattpad, so I know what I'm talking about. I come from experience. I'm roasting myself here. I could have done better. I should have done better. And I promise my next book, the cover is going to be much, much better. But okay, so here's my closing thought because I'm losing my voice. The covers don't just sell books, they shape how the entire world sees romance. Making them flat, making them lazy, and making them with the sole purpose of selling diminishes the entire romance genre. It makes it a laughing stock. Wrongfully so, because there are romance books out there that are so detailed and so nuanced and so amazing that they don't deserve to be lumped into anything that should be a cause for shame or embarrassment. And right now, publishers are lying to us. They are giving us hints in all the wrong directions, and honestly, we deserve better, and the authors themselves deserve better. On my YouTube, I'm going to be sharing a list of romance covers that actually nail it, but some of the worst book covers of the year, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. And if you enjoyed this Rationally Insane podcast episode, please make sure to give it a like or a 5-star in your platform of choosing. It really helps because this is a new podcast, so the more thumbs up it gets, the more people get to see it and enter these discussions. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next week.